Great danger lies in the lands of the Rajputs. Many changes in power will lead to great turmoil and death. I couldn't ask for any better. The year is 1175, and Chauhan's spies give the report that the Paramara Grand Prince, Chauhan, led a successful campaign against the kingdom of Gwalior and conquered it for himself, killing its Raja and marrying its queen to further legitimize his claim. Sama, having his hopes of making a coalition of Rajput states against the Paramara destroyed, he immediately set for war against Chauhan. If the Paramara are allowed to grow, they could eventually control all of Hindustan. And that wasn't an option for Sama, that too had great ambitions. He caught Chauhan by surprise, having only a small force to defend himself against the attackers. Nonetheless, he charged the Chauhans with great ferocity, hoping for them to become too confused to coordinate their attacks. Samar, however, was able to reform his lines and pushed back the Paramara. Seeing the loss of his men, Chauhan ordered a retreat back to Gwalior, where he could better prepare himself against the Chauhans. Instead of pursuing, Sama went back to Ajayameru, for his force was not equipped to take Gwalior at the moment. Up in Jalandhar, Prithviraj had to pull back due to the lack of supplies. Meanwhile, he was able to get from the Multan region the princess Sanyogita to become his wife. This was to further bring the Hindu population of the region to back up his claims to the land, where his diplomats were beginning discussions with the Ghurids for a joint attack on the Khazanids. Back in Ajayameru, Sama was resting his forces for the next campaign season, where no doubt the Paramara would take the offensive. Meanwhile, his agents went south to Anhilvara to find out a Paramara army sieging its capital. Sama's forces were too tired to aid the Raja at the moment, so he remained in his fortress to await for further developments. By the end of 1176, Chauhan diplomats began giving large sums of money to the Ghurids, so to continue them to increase their attacks on the Khazanids, leaving room for Prithviraj to take the Multan region with few difficulties. By this point, Samar's troops were rested enough to proceed into helping the besieged in Hilvara, bringing with him his lightest troops. Samar counted on the surprise of his charge to bring the Paramarans into disarray. The enemy cavalry covered the main host by performing small skirmishes, giving the Paramara time to reorganize against their foe on the rear. The Anhilvarans were too weak to sally out in aid of Samar, so he could only count on himself to win the day. Their war elephants and cavalry clashed into the Chauhan line, but were unable to break their ranks. Samar counterattacked their offensive with his reserve cavalry, leaving the Paramara to lose a great lot of men that day. The Chauhan too lost a great deal of warriors, for the enemy's continuous attacks kept on coming, even when most of the forces were on the retreat. Successful in repelling the Paramara from Anhilvara, Samar's fame grew in Hindustan as a defender of the Rajput states. But he knew well the ferocity of his foe, and that this was only the beginning of a bloody affair.